Inside a fortified base, Isaac and the Silver Brigade wait for their enemies behind a bright, protective barrier. Instead of dragons, they see humans with zombie-like appearances emerging from a hole in the wall. These people explain they were meant to be dragon food but escaped. As they approach, pleading for shelter, Isaac remembers Crimson mentioning Altazora's ability to hypnotize victims with chemical synthesis. Isaac warns his soldiers to keep their weapons ready. However, the zombie-like humans are now too close for long-range combat, leaving the soldiers to fight them off in close quarters. The brigade, including Isaac, defends effectively, even though Isaac hesitates when a child zombie attacks him. Princess Steria shows no hesitation, eliminating all the attackers. Steria sternly tells her soldiers they can only save their fellow civilians and soldiers. Anyone else must be eliminated without mercy, or she will do it herself. Her words motivate the soldiers to fight more fiercely. Steria then leaves Isaac in charge of the base and calls twins Chris and tutor Nazarena to join her in attacking the forest. Meanwhile, Altazora watches from afar, impressed by the princess's decisiveness, but noting everything is unfolding as he planned. He aims to teach a harsh lesson on the battlefield, a lesson that he says will cost the princess her life. The episode also delves into the lore of superior dragons, known as mature lineage members, whose power is gauged by their maturation time. The average maturation takes 10 to 15 years, with the most powerful maturing in just a year. One dragon, Terektra, took 20 years to mature. During a fight with Ragna, it's revealed that he may not be the most talented lineage member but has accumulated significant power as a human. Ragna, wielding silverine-infused swords, strikes the enemy, managing to lodge his blades in a crack in Terektra's shoulder. The dragon retaliates with its flaming blood. Acknowledging the dragon's strength, Ragna realizes his last attack, despite using all his power, wasn't enough to sever the dragon's arm. Terektra admires Ragna's strength, but Ragna rejects the praise. Ragna prepares for a final attack, removing a glove and intending to merge his power with his sword. Understanding Ragna's plan, Terektra also prepares to use its full strength. Ragna unleashes the Dragon Slayer attack, Flash of the Hunt, while Terektra counters with seismic cannon. The collision of their attacks creates a massive shockwave. While a major battle rages on, Princess Steria smartly uses her power, assigning responsibilities to others for better results. We see a team flying with silver pieces, similar to the Silver Surfer, impressing Altazora with their aerial skills. The twins use their enhanced vision to spot enemy positions from kilometers away, even in the dark. They report a horde of about 1,000 dragons surrounding the base, and confirm there are around 10,000 enemies total, as expected. A more devastated area is shown where Ragna and Terektra are engaged in battle, but Altazora is nowhere to be found. The twins' far-reaching vision and ability to communicate with the team at a distance, keeping everyone updated, is remarkable. They also report over 1,500 humans in the vicinity, and 2 enemy hordes, totaling 400, approaching the east entrance, likely waiting for an attack. Princess Steria, however, is unfazed, as this is part of her plan. Altazora, using a distant view, sees that the first wave of his sent horde has been destroyed. The soldiers are tense after battling the zombie-like humans, but Steria is eager to unleash her anger. This is when the clash between Terektra and Ragna occurs. Altazora is concerned, but Terektra declares victory as Ragna lies fallen with Mr. Slime trying to revive him. It's surprising to see a human go toe-to-toe with Terektra, who admits it can't use magic for a while after deploying the seismic cannon. Altazora inquires about Silverin emanating from Ragna, but Terektra dismisses the possibility, saying Ragna would have used such power if he had it. They conclude Ragna isn't the Reaper who attacked the progenitor, but caution that the real enemy might still be on the battlefield. Attempting to finish Ragna, Terektra tries to crush him with a giant foot, but Ragna narrowly escapes, astonishing the dragons by being alive. Ragna survived by transferring his consciousness from his human part to his sword part, so the fight continues. Ragna quickly defeats some lower dragons, but Terektra believes with enough smaller enemies, Ragna will eventually be overwhelmed and defeated. Ragna faces off against lesser dragons after the superior dragon, Terektra, decides to leave. Ragna tries to engage Terektra in conversation, but the dragon implies they've already spoken enough through their combat. Terektra acknowledges Ragna's strength, suggesting he could have been stronger if his sword could handle his powerful techniques. As Terektra departs, calling Ragna a man with no name, it receives new orders from Altazora to head towards Princess Steria's location. Despite his exhaustion and injuries, Ragna relentlessly fights through the lesser dragons, aiming to reach Terektra. He becomes overwhelmed, falling to his knees under the endless assault of these dragons, until Shin arrives and saves him by defeating the creatures. Shin then questions why Ragna is in such a weakened state, as Garm also joins them. Ragna is puzzled why they are fighting there instead of defending the base. However, their conversation is cut short by another dragon attack, and they engage in battle. As they fight, it's explained that the base hasn't been abandoned. Most entrances are blocked, leaving only the north entrance vulnerable, where Ike's team is positioned, while Princess Steria fights with 200 soldiers. Shin reveals that he and Garm came to assist Ragna, but Ragna insists he doesn't need help and urges them to return to the base. Despite Ragna's refusal of assistance, Shin criticizes him for rejecting help. Ragna is determined not to draw more soldiers away from the base for his sake. During their conversation, Ragna slips and falls from a frozen dragon. Shin then uses a powerful skill to eliminate several surrounding dragons and reaches Ragna. The argument continues with Ragna stubbornly wanting to handle things alone, telling Shin to stay back while he deals with the situation. Shin steps back, mentioning his numerous defeats and challenges against Ragna, preparing for another attempt. Shin then recalls a statement from Princess Steria made before Ragna's arrival. She had planned to relocate civilians out of the country and avoid confrontations with superior dragons. Shin had protested against this strategy, determined to fight and eliminate as many dragons as possible, even if it meant risking his life in battle. Princess Steria challenges Shin by asking how many dragons he thinks he can defeat. Shin isn't sure but says he'll defeat as many as possible. Steria then questions if he could take down a superior dragon, leaving Shin surprised. She explains that defeating weaker dragons won't change the situation much. What's really needed is to handle the superior dragons. Steria expresses her desire to take down these formidable creatures herself, playfully mocking Shin for being ambitious despite his short stature. She tells Shin he can prove himself if he survives the current crisis. The princess then addresses her soldiers, declaring her intention to join forces with the Solarians to end the winged lineage. She asks her soldiers to stand by her side in this plan. Half a day later, everyone is still pondering Steria's words. Shin speaks with a soldier named Yugo Robles, who has family in Donapiru, the first city attacked by dragons. Yugo is determined to return there, even if it might be too late. He encourages Shin to become the new master swordsman and emphasizes the importance of survival for gaining strength. Consequently, 120 out of 470 force members decide to stay in the country. Back in the present, while fighting alongside Ragna, Shin wonders about the fate of those who stayed and whether they managed to protect anything. He realizes it doesn't matter now, as he chose to escape. After finally admitting defeat to Ragna, Shin acknowledges his first loss, changing their score to 69 wins for Ragna and 1 for Shin. Shin then confronts Ragna, pulling him by the hair and declaring that their battle represents the struggle between those who chose to flee for survival and the dragons seeking their extermination. He asserts that no matter how strong or motivated the soldier, he can't just arrive late and pretend to be the hero. As they conclude their conversation, the area around them has been cleared of danger. The group starts discussing their desire to become stronger. Mr. Slime then reminds them to stay focused, as the eruption dragon has escaped and they need to pursue it. Shin, determined, plans to hunt and eliminate the 5th seed of the dragon lineage. Princess Steria creates a magical barrier cage in the forest, challenging Ultizora's belief that he would have the upper hand there. She turns the forest into her stronghold. The twins receive an update that the ground dragons have retreated, and none of the aerial shooters were lost. On the ground, the damage is minimal, and the soldiers are still ready to fight. This minor victory is partly due to the magic circle's effective strategy, which now includes a vertical dimension to cover more area. For the princess, the key isn't necessarily to win the battle but to survive long enough to gather energy from the defeated dragon. This energy will be used for teleportation magic. However, Ultizora has closely analyzed the princess's tactics. He understands that she would not risk civilian lives in a meaningless battle. He deduces her plan to use a magic absorption circle to harness energy from the defeated dragons for teleportation. Ultizora is familiar with this strategy because, during his time with the Solarians, they researched how to utilize dragon energy in combat. This brings an end to episode 13. Subscribe our channel for the upcoming episode.